we hope that you'll be here to listen to what people are going to say, and will be able to vote based on the manifesto that they bring forth. So we have a short presentation before we move forward on what we have done in the last year.
So we are going to start a presentation by introducing you our team. Mr. Suzika was the Vice President, Musharraf Mamadova was the Secretary of Finance, Narmin Gahramansoy was the Secretary of Public Relations, Gunai was the Secretary of Social Affairs or Student Affairs, and Kamran was the Academic Secretary. So in the past year, one of the biggest things or the biggest achievements that we had is the organization of ADA Oscars, which is the ADA's birthday taken every March. So last year we celebrated the 9th birthday of our university, and the organization of the event was carried out by the graduate student government in collaboration with the former government and also undergraduate students. So we also organized a trip before the semester, and the trip was especially for the graduate students of SPIA, Madia and MPP students, 2016 and 2017, and the goal was to have both of the groups to share their experiences and learn from each other. We went to Ganja, and we also had a short trip to Goigul.
As you can see, people were extremely happy at the beginning of the of the semester. There was excitement, but because of papers and a few other things, people are not as excited. But we had a good time there. We got to know each other a little bit more, and I hope it helped. So one of the things that we did in the past semester, and according to Mr. Fariz, it was a dream that came true. It was the ADA newspaper. So in collaboration with one of our exchange students and also undergraduate government, we published, we are done with the first publication of the students' newspaper, but we are going to publish it soon, and it is in the process of approval. As you can see, the newspaper is by the students, where the students can write their stories and also share their experiences, poems, and also their research papers. If it is interesting, it can be published here and can be shared among the ADA students community. So, on what we hope for the future, we hope that we would have a graduate student government that is much more appreciated and informed, especially on decisions that are made. If the graduate students could be much more involved. We had one meeting, I think, with from last semester, only one meeting with Dr. Sultanov. But from there, we never had any more meetings, and sometimes we think that for the coming graduate student government, I think they should be much more involved. And I think even one of the responsibilities of the graduate student government is that they should be there to represent views of the students in Senate, but this graduate student government was never at any point informed of such a meeting. We hope that the new graduate student government can be much more involved. And we hope also for the future that students could be much more involved in the initiatives that the graduate student government brings forth. One of the trips that we tried to organize to go to Sheki in the first semester, we had very bad response from students. Not so many showed up. Even the trip to Ganja from MPP, or rather Madia and MPP 2016, only me and the president here actually went. The majority came from 2017. So we hope that for the future, we could have students a little bit more engaged in the activities of the graduate student government. And also we thought that as the School of Education is also planning on, or rather is by next year will be having master's students, maybe it's time the graduate student government started thinking about how do we integrate all the three schools in terms of how the graduate students are represented. And also one of the things that we had planned on to work on but didn't manage to work on is the student academic journal. We hoped that we could create that, but we couldn't. And we hope that for the future, the new graduate student government could actually be able to create that. I'll ask Sharik to just go back to the second slide where we have all the members there. From there, two of Gunai and Musha Mamadova are not here. They went on exchange, but they continue to be part of the graduate student government. And I would ask that we just give a hand to the group or the team that laid graduate students here in the year 2015. Please.
At the end, one of the things that I wanted to add is that ADA News is a kind of responsibility that we expect the coming government to carry on this responsibility and make sure that it goes on and we will have the publications. Thank you very much, and now I would like to invite our candidates to come and occupy their seats here, please. So this year we have three candidates. One candidate is from MPP 2017 and two candidates from Madia 2017. So before passing the floor to our candidates, I would like to invite our beloved Vice Rector to have their remarks. Thank you.
I wasn't planning a speech, but of course on behalf of our university administrators, faculty, and student services, we want to thank the outgoing team. Thank you very much for your service to ADA University. I think that when we have a new team created, we will have some other priorities. Our university has grown, and we need some more attention to disciplinary issues, to awareness issues, to student code of conduct, to honor code issues. So I think that the Dean's Office and the Office of Student Services will work with the new government in some new priority directions. But nevertheless, thank you very much, all the best, and we look forward to interesting debates.
Thank you very much, Fariz Malem. And now I would like to open the floor to our candidates. The first candidate, the first team who's going to present their platform is Jainaba and Jorge from Madia 2017. Please.
Good afternoon, everyone. First of all, would like to welcome you to this presentation ceremony. A couple of you were present last week when we had a very fruitful debate between myself and Jorge with all the other participating candidates. Without further ado, we'll just go straight to the presentation. First of all, the ultimate aim of the graduate student government is to ensure that we improve the welfare of the student body in ADA University. This we intend to do by helping students to adapt to student life in ADA University, as we proposed last week, that a lot of people find it difficult to get incorporated into the ADA system, mainly because we all come from different educational system. I mean, ADA University has not gotten a batch that has moved from bachelor straight into the master's program, probably next year. Almost everybody in master's is from a different university, both in and out of Azerbaijan. And this, we realize, is the main problem, because by the time we come to ADA University, adaptation into the ADA system takes a lot of time, and before we know it, the semester has already gone in the middle, and people cannot participate in any activity because they have assignments, term papers, and everything piled up. So the integration process from the beginning of the semester is very important, and this is one of the key areas that we'll focus on before semester, helping students to incorporate into the ADA system. Also, another key important thing that we would very much focus on is the importance of syllabus. We mentioned last week as well that this is a problem that faces most of us. Some of us, like my Italian friend, sorry to mention you, but she would say that her university in Italy, there wasn't something like a stratified syllabus that they had to follow. So it was something new to her. And it's not only her, even though some people know about syllabus, but from bachelors, we're used to being spoon-fed and told, next class, read this, next class, do that, but that is not the case for masters. And this is a problem that affects most of us. A lot of people would not know exactly the way the lecture is planned, and as a result, they face a lot of problems along the semester with deadlines and so on. Also, the university system, Power Campus, grading system, and so. Like 2 weeks ago, we had a meeting with our very own rector, Ambassador Vashayev, and he even made it clear to us that the grading system in ADA is totally different from the next door university that you can visit. I mean, most of us, the schools that we come from have different grading system, different grading scheme, and so on. So this is something also that most of us are not adapted to, and it creates a lot of problem for us in the process. So all these are part of increasing the welfare of the students. Also, we have student-teacher relationships. Sometimes we have issues when it comes to maybe you felt that you're marked down, or you need to approach an issue for a lecturer, which you can't do. And most students cannot find the zeal, cannot find the strength in them to go and face the lecturers. This is when the graduate student government is very important, to serve as a mediating body between students and lecturers and students and administration. Because it does not make any sense if each and every student who has a problem walks straight to the administration to make a point, each and every student. Besides, they would not even have the time to do that. So when we have one particular body that is coordinating all the activities, all the issues that are relating to students, and then they portray it to the right channel, then bigger results will be achieved. And individually, we try to put forward our complaints. So this is one of the key areas that we'll also be looking into. Another thing is to follow the projects of past administration. Last week I also mentioned that Dr. Kavus would always say that you don't need, when there's already a wheel in existence, you need to walk on the wheel. There's no need reinventing a new wheel. One might say that you need to do something, but the fact of the matter is we have 1 year. And if some people have already started doing something to create an impact, you need to go back to what they have started, what was done wrong, what was done right, you learn from it, correct the wrongs, further develop it, and then results can be achieved. But if each and every one of us come every year and say, okay, whatever the past government did, we just put it to the trash and start something new, we can never achieve progress. Although we have our own programs that we will come up with, which we would future, but then we would work on the past administration, the ideas that they've already started developing to further work on them. Some of them is the ADA newspaper, as Ahmad rightly mentioned, access to databases to do research. Most of us find it very difficult to access data, especially from the library website. Some of us feel it's complicated and so on. So we need to come up with mechanisms to make sure that these things are very easily accessible to all students so that we can, it will make our learning process very easy for us. Also, like I said, use the things we have. There is no point to create something new when we are misusing some of the university resources and so on. ADA is a very sophisticated and advanced university per se, in terms of infrastructure, in terms of technology, and so on. We have a lot of facilities that we can utilize as graduate students that we're currently not utilizing. So this is one of the key areas that if we happen to be elected, or even if we're not elected, we would work on it, is to ensure that we try to make the best use of all the ADA facilities, both Power Campus, make sure that we have access to lecture materials. I mean, one of the key things I can say that was very helpful to Madea 2017 class is the Google Drive that was created by George, where all of us don't have to hustle to look for documents. What do I have to read tomorrow? What are the notes for next week? When is the deadline or so? But as a class, we had a Google Drive that was created by him, and then all the materials that we're going to have are uploaded to the drive, and each and every one of us has access to it. This is from Madea 2017. How about if we expand it to other classes? These are some of the plans that we'll do in order to help students to have access to all the reading materials and on time so as to prepare for classes. I'll allow Jorge to go ahead with the other key plans that we have. Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to focus on the ADA use of technology because, as you may know, here we have a lot of resources that we're misusing. As a result of that, some parts of the university are considered like worthless for the student purposes because we cannot do many things with that. So for that purpose, I would like to push forward to create a policy of correct using of our technologies. So in the future, when we have to develop some things regarding anything we have to do, research, experiments, topics, we can use them, yeah, because sometimes we face some limitations at the time to do some research, do some work, some presentations or something. So that's the point. Try to use all the tools we have here. In the integration process, I would like, as a team, not just integrate between the master areas, because the SPIA school is not just for masters, they have also 2 undergraduate programs. So sometimes it's useless, it's useful to integrate with those undergraduate students because they have other appreciations and other points of view about the situations, and the topics of interest are related. So in that case, it's not about just doing integration for fun, but doing integration to complement our knowledge, yeah? To complement what we learn in classes, what we have in common together, and how we can work on for that. So for that reason, we would like to promote forums between the SAPIA as a whole, not as Madea or MPP, because our areas of interest are the same. So if we make a forum about a recent topic that is, for example, for international relations, we can work on that and bring people that are experts on the topic, and we create this forum that will be helpful not only for Madea students, but also for the BAPA, the BICE, and the MPP students. Another key point for us is the internship programs. I found that interesting. We found that really interesting because most of the people that are here, especially the Azerbaijani students in Madea and MPP, are looking forward to work for the government. Yeah, well, sometimes the government positions are already taken. So for that point, I would like to give another scope where they can use the skills they're acquiring here in the classroom so they can move forward to another place. So for that reason, we like to explore mechanisms to offer internships not only here in Azerbaijan but outside Azerbaijan in different NGOs, in different organizations, where they can use the knowledge they acquired during their education years. Because it's pointless if you spend 2 years studying a master and then just like, okay, I'm just gonna work in the government positions. And then you go out and face the reality that there's no jobs for you, yeah? So then you need to start looking and you start struggling, and it's like you end up doing a job that just like, okay, I spent 2 years on a master and I spend my money doing this and I cannot get a job in the field I want. So for that reason, we would like to offer a new perspective on what you can do with the things you acquire here, the knowledge you acquire
George,
here.
I'm sorry, you have 2 minutes to finish.
2 minutes? You're finishing already. That's the last part. The social responsibility. For this part, as a government student, we're focusing in 3 parts. It's the environmental social responsibility, 2 campaigns, that it's walk on your right, because as you can see in the Azerbaijani culture, you can walk everywhere, and sometimes you are getting up in the stairs and there's people coming on the right, on the left side, and then it's like, where should I go? So in the same way we drive on the streets, we drive on the right side, we should always work on our right side, so the people are always, and then you cannot crash together. And the other program we like to improve, it's the respect the queue. Yeah, I know it's hard because it's a cultural aspect here in Azerbaijan, but I mean, like, in order to create an environment of harmony here, we should push forward these kind of programs. There are small changes because we are not trying to achieve something big, yeah? We are not going here for big things. We are here to work for small things that are gonna have a great impact in the student life. So you can say, hey, how walking on the right is gonna affect me? Actually, walking on the right affects you every single day you're walking in this university, yeah? So if you go on stairs, for example, in the SB building, you see those stairs are pretty narrow. And sometimes there are people coming on both sides, and then you're going up and it's like, hey, where should I go? Like, yeah? And I know people have experienced that. So for that reason, we should start this program. We have to like mark the lines and they say, walk on your right. That's simple. And it's just a matter of time, and then you will do it naturally, because then you get used to just walk on the right. Yeah? The same with the queues. The queues, yeah, when you see the canteen in the area, it's really complicated, but that's all by now. So thanks for listening. If you have any questions by now.
Yeah,
or
thank you very
at
much.
the
Thank
end.
you, George, for your inspiring presentation. You can have your seats. I would like to remind you that you can note down the questions that you have from our candidates. Once the platform presentation is over, you can ask questions from each team. So now I'd like to give the floor to our second team, Mr. Bakir Nabiev and Ms. Shafiga Teimurova from MPP 2017 class. Please.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome all. We have a reason for being here. We came here for graduate student government elections. And we have a reason why we are rolling for presidency in this GSG. Please change. Is it working? Actually, there is a question. Question rises when we are... No, thank you. The question rises when we talk about GSG. Why do we need GSG? We need GSG to represent. We need GSG to organize, to create a link, and to benefit. And the question is about to represent whom, to represent what, and to represent where. We are going to represent all students of graduates from School of Public and International Affairs. We want to do it, we are willing to do it, and we are sure that we are powerful enough to do it. We want to organize. Organize what? Organize projects that are not only academic projects, that are not only social projects, and that are not only based on entertainment of students. We want to organize projects that fulfill all needs, all concerns, all aims of students that are able to be organized as a project. We want to create a link, and this link is not only link among students, because this year, in 2016, we have a big problem. This problem wasn't in years before, because Madya and MPP students of School of Public and International Affairs were studying together in the same time. They were studying in morning. But this year, Madya is studying in morning, but MPP is studying in evening. So we have a very big gap. And we should create a link among those two groups to make those two groups work together and give a benefit to all the university together. And we want, not hard so much, and we want to benefit. Benefit whom? We want to benefit all students, we want to benefit society, and we want to benefit ADA University. Then please change. There is a question, another question. What problem GSG should pay more attention? And I think that you should continue about it.
We actually conducted a survey, according to which the students in this survey wrote about their concerns, about their problems, about their wants and needs. Here the results.
Those are the results.
We were able to fix the problem because of live streaming. Can you please all use the microphone so that there are at least 10 people watching you guys?
Excuse me. Okay.
So much. Sorry for interruption.
Is it in? Okay. We conducted a survey among all SPIA graduate students, and we got a lot of responses from students. We got done this survey not only in MPP 2017 group, so not only in our group. We sent this survey to Madya 17, Madya 16, and MPP 16. It means all groups of graduates of School of Public and International Affairs. So we got responses from all groups in our school. And the result is that the most actual problems, the most actual concerns came from students were about student faculty, and student administrational affairs. Students were writing me that they have problems with creating link with other groups, such as MPP 2017 has problems with creating Madya 2017. Then I got responses from mostly 2016 students about student faculty problems. They were stating that there are a lot of problems among student faculty links, and these are because GSG had to do a lot of work to do this, but it wasn't able to do, and so there are some problems. And there are problems about student administration affairs. 3 of respondents from 2017 wrote me about that, and they said that there are a lot of problems with policy making in ADA because GSG didn't work well during 2016, and that's why administration was giving their decisions not behalf on students of SPIA, graduates of SPIA, but without asking them what they want and etc. about their concerns. Second most actual problem was about GSG's meetings. They wanted GSG to meet more often with students. Some of them wrote that we want students to meet every month with GSG. Some of them wrote it even that we need every week meeting with GSG. There were a lot of problems about academic issues. Academic issues were about publishing problems, about capstone project, about choosing research track. And most response about academic issues problem came from students of 2016. And it's not a surprise for me because they added the fact that when they were studying in the first course, the academic issues were not such big problem for them, but they understood that it's a big problem for them just when they came to second course and when they realized that publishing issue is very hard for them. It creates a lot of problems. Choosing track among professional track, so capstone program, and choosing among research track takes a lot of time and power of them. And of course, they asked to create possibility to have a lot of fun. Please change it. We asked them, what you want from GSG? And they answered that their wants were mainly about projects. For example, we asked which kind of project they want GSG to realize, to organize, and they answered that 72% of students prefer on-campus projects to off-campus projects. It means that we are going to represent you, and we are going to mostly give place to on-campus projects, through organizing on-campus projects. 79% of students prefer innovative projects to traditional ones. Some of students told me about that they want innovative projects to be given much more place in our agenda, but they want traditional projects such as Oscars, etc., to be kept in the future. And we asked them about what characteristic of projects they want. Students want 45% academic, 38% social, and 17% entertaining projects. Yes, and that's what we are going to do. We are going to realize projects mostly on academic and social issues and combine those projects with some kind of entertainment, not to lose their interest in these projects. Please change. What are we going to do? We are going to organize projects that will help all students' voices to be heard. Actually, it was very pity to see that most of you were absent during the debates on Friday, but I'm very glad to see you here today. And during debates on Friday, I proposed a project about creating maybe a website, maybe space in one of ADA's sites such as Power Campus or official site, to create opportunity to students for petition or maybe for voting. And several days ago, Turgut Mellim wrote us mail that we are able, our fellow students are able to vote online, and it made me very glad about this. Projects helping students to solve their academic problems and motivating them to future academic successes. We are going to organize projects mostly on academic issues, because we must understand the necessity of academic issues and solve those academic problems. Main academic problem among ADA students is about publishing papers. This is about choosing research track, because most of ADA students don't choose research track. And when we ask them why they don't choose research track, they answered that they are some kind of afraid of choosing research track because they don't know how to write master thesis. We want to create opportunity and do our best to create such opportunity for all students, for them if they want to choose such research track and write master thesis at the end of second year, so they will be able to write it all. Okay. And we are going to organize projects not only academic, not only social, and not only entertainment character. We want to combine them all. So maybe, for example, me, I want to participate in academic project, but I don't want to waste my time and I want to have some fun during such projects. And we have such kind of projects that will combine social, academic, and entertainment issues for all students. Please change. And at the conclusion, I want to say that when we came to ADA during this admission process, why professors admitted us to this university? They saw some shine in our eyes. They saw that we have some perspective, we have some power to benefit our societies, ourselves, our families, and our friends. And all of us know that if you are a soldier without having military higher education, you cannot be a general in army. If you are a soldier and you have not education on military, you will not be a general and you will stay as a soldier. This is the same about our issue. If you are a student and you will not have good education on your area, for example, if I'm not going to have good education on public policy, and if other students are not going to have good education on international affairs, they will stay as soldiers, but will not be generals. And we are going to raise academic problems most of all, because we want all of you be generals in the future of your area, not soldiers. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Bakr and Shafika, for your inspiring presentation. And now I would like to pass the floor to our third candidate, Mr. Mushu and Ms. Narmina from Madia 2017.
Hello, dear students, friends, faculty. Nice to see you here. You see? Okay. First of all, I want to mention several things. All of our friends here mentioned too many problems, but no one actually gave the direct solution, I think. And sometimes I concerned about one thing. Sometimes all students always criticizing something, always criticizing faculty, criticizing system, the grading criteria, everything. But sometimes it seems like the problems is inside of students as well. How we are involved in this system, not to be adopted, how we are involved in for being adopted, yes? Okay, we wrote some projects and our strategy, how we are going to work during the previous, next year, if we will, of course. Let's see it. Okay, you already, I think, saw this one. Why we are here? The main important, I think the most important question, why we are as a candidates here, what we want from GSG for being here is a social responsibility for us. For being here is to bringing positive change to our community, to becoming the voice of ADA students. But when we mean to bring the positive change to our community, we don't mean to ADA community only, because the actual aim of ADA to bring the contribution and positive change to all community, not only inside of ADA. And to become a voice of ADA student doesn't mean also to become a voice of ADA students inside of ADA, in front of administration, but to become a voice of ADA students everywhere. To share our experience, knowledge and values. Where? Of course, inside of ADA, with students. And also to share our experience and knowledge and values with outside of ADA, who are not able to get this access to these values and education. To contribute to the next generation of ADA students. And of course, by doing it, to contribute to the next generation of our community. Okay, how we are going to achieve this? How we are going to do this? Our strategy is to inform, because we see that there is a lack of information in students. And then to involve them, and then automatically change will become. So be informed, and get involved, and make a difference. This difference will be made by students, by you, not by GSG. Our role is to inform and to involve you. How we are going to do this? We borrow one strategy from international organizations. This is buddy system. As you see, we mentioned there, students, buddies, GSG, AD administration, and society, of course, and this circle going on. What means buddies? Buddies are a responsible person who is responsible for example, for 7 or 8 students who have a tasks, who have a responsibility to be aware about these problems of the students, to be aware about the initiatives and projects of the students, and buddies bringing it to GSG, which is more legitimate or more powerful body than buddies, and we are going to bring this problem or initiative to AD administration, and of course this contribution will go to society, and from society again to the students. This is the sustainable mechanism which we borrowed from international organizations actually and companies, the buddy system, because sometimes when you have crowd of people, you can't manage them by, I don't know, surveys or social networks. It doesn't work. Everyone ignores it, yes? But buddies, no one can involve because he's your friend, he's your group mate. He'll come, approach you, ask several things, your problems, your contributions. And then there will be buddy meetings. In these buddy meetings, these buddies come to the GSG for presenting the problems of that students which are responsible for. For example, we already have 5 persons in our group, I mean our team. And we have approximately 40 students in our group. Each of the buddies will be responsible for 8 persons, yes? So they will, in these body meetings, monthly, it will be monthly, each month. In these body meetings, these bodies will represent the problems of the, for example, each student. For example, Günel. Why Günel didn't involve this month for several projects? Because she didn't have a time, I don't know, she had some problem with, I don't know, studies, or why she do have some problems. Maybe do Günel have some initiative or project? Body will bring it, just carry this problem or initiative to us. And how we are going to solve this problem, how we are going to offer the solutions, as I already mentioned, students have a time management problem, we are organizing the time management trainings. Students have problems to communicate with someone, we are involving them to the student clubs, to the, I don't know, to conversation club, because some of you, of course, even me, having problem of English language. Guest speakers who will involve us, who will going to be, I don't know, ideal person or previous students of Mayday, alumni, yes? Then, this is the strategy, how we are going to work, how we are going to involve. This is the strategy. What we are going to do, so the next step, projects. I pass the microphone to Normina, please.
Thank you. Actually, our approach, like possible president and vice president of GSG, is not to say just loud words, but to offer specific proposals. We all know that the studying process is sometimes very complicated. That's why ADA students should not forget about life outside ADA. We know that sometimes we don't have time to follow all the events that are held outside. That's why we offer mailing on a regular basis, first with the show schedules in theaters, cinema schedules, calendar of concerts, exhibitions, and second, with schedule of coming trainings, conferences, lectures for personal development of students of ADA.
Can I add something?
Yes.
For example, how many of you informed about the NISA event, upcoming NISA event, NATO, International School of Azerbaijan? How many of you, please? Can I see hand? 1, 2, 3, just. Why? Because there's a lack of information. We are going to solve it. We are going to inform you monthly by this calendar. Please.
Yes, it can be also, please Next slide, yes. It can be also ADA Cinema Club. As I already mentioned, you remember the class with Anar Malim when he showed us the film about rural areas in India, yes, but because of lack of time, we didn't have an opportunity to watch it in full length. That's why it would be very nice to organize something for educational perspective on films, to sit together to watch films and to discuss thoughts about them, socialize as well. And importantly, I want to say that, of course, our primary goal as representatives of graduate students is to represent their interests and concerns in all spheres of ADA life: academic, extracurricular, personal, what concerns honor code issues, and so on. Sponsoring campus-wide programs, chartering and regulating student clubs, and so on. The main thing I want to emphasize is that our mission is to advocate the interests of ADA students only in diplomatic manner. I mean that we should not complain, we should not make any petitions or something like that, like our opponents offer sometimes. We think that we have to find proper solutions through negotiations with administration.
Okay, and the most important thing, social responsibility program, what we are going to do. As I already mentioned, like why we should work only inside of the campus. Why? Why? What is the reason for that? We should actually understand our social responsibility. We are not going to work only for our community. Actually, also Kavus Melli mentioned this word, and in international relations you can see mechanical solidarity, yes? Why we are doing this? Mechanical solidarity. We are doing the contributions, we are bringing some ideas only for our community because we are inside of this comfort zone and it's good for us. But why we are not bringing to outside? Why we are not doing organic solidarity? Why we are not solidarity with everyone who surrounds us actually? Our city, our, I don't know, community. So, social responsibility program, there will be projects, the school ambassador project, which will involve the students to educate, to share their knowledge with the peoples of the from schools of Azerbaijan, of course. And another thing is to make our university more sustainable body of community. We already discussed this school ambassador program with Mr. Ambassador Hafiz Pashayev, and we are going to do it anyway if we are not becoming the GSG president or, I don't know, management. Because these initiatives come from heart. This is our passion, not a position, of course. Then, the one more thing is fund. What we want to do, we want to create a fund for GSG. But not especially for GSG, students fund of ADA, let's say. For what this fund going to work? This fund going to work for students, especially for students, and of course for society, like, I mean, on outside of ADA. How we are going to manage this fund? Because we always see a lot of students who's gathering money here. Even now, I think there's some, for someone, I don't know, or some charity events. But this is not about the charity, this is all about the education. Here, we see there's problems in our students. For example, master students. They do have a financial problem, or they do have, I don't know, they can't sometimes pay their, I don't know, the fee for university. That's why this fund going to work. Students will collect money. Faculty also may contribute. It's good. And this money will work for students and for several charity events, for maybe organizing some projects. And this fund going to be sustainable. Money will be kept there in GSG and after us, and it will be increase and increase for serving society and students. Okay, please.
And the last thing we would like to mention is that we all know that ADA values embrace the strong commitment to the concept of diversity. And I want to emphasize that we are the only team who is represented by both local and international students, so we can ensure that every single voice can be heard and everyone's interests can be ensured and protected. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Narmina and Mushu. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for your speeches and great initiatives and projects. Now I would like to open the floor to our students. If they have any questions addressing to any of our teams, you can ask your questions and concerns. But before that, I would like to mention that please be short and precise and address to a specific team. Any question?
Thank you. My name is Fidan Sidevsade and I am MPP 2016 student. I have the question to the first group, but before it, I would like to thank all of you for the presentations. My question is that for the first team, sorry, I couldn't get the name. Miss Jainaba, sorry. You mentioned about the problems regarding grading criteria, grading scale, power campus, and so on, academic issues. But I couldn't get the point what kind of measures you want to take in order to solve this problem, because being a student, a second-year master student, MPP 2016, we also face such kind of problems, of course, and such kind of problems are problems that our dean can solve only, I think. It's my own opinion. Of course, you will answer to this question. And we, when we face such kind of problems, we just informed about this our dean, the faculty members, and they always solve our problems. Could you define the problem and say how you're going to solve that? Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for the question. First of all, I would say the problem with grading system is a problem of connecting the grading system from what you, the student, are used to. Like, let's say per se, when you were in undergraduate, maybe the scheme from 90 to 100 is A or something, and the grading system here, it's a different one. So this is where students have problem, because you're used to having 90 and it's an A for, let's say maybe 85 and it's an A minus for you, and that is not the case here. So even if you're putting a lot of effort, you're seeing that your grades and you're not having like high QPAs per subject. So this is the problem. This is the problem. What we can do, what we intend to do is, we're not going to strangle administration to say change it. It is literally impossible, but everything has to do with negotiations and dialogue. Even if the administration cannot come to the level of the students, we'll try to create a balance between students and administration. I must tell you realistically, this is not in the powers of the graduate student government to assure you that we're going to bring the GPA to the level that students want. But the realistic thing that we can do is to mediate and negotiate with the administration to ensure that everyone is at par with the grading system that we have. This is the realistic solution that we're going to put forward.
Also to add, it's not about solving all the problems, because yeah, we are facing a lot of problems here, but it's also know what are the problems we are facing, like especially from Power Campus. In Power Campus at the beginning, I don't know how to upload a document. So we are lacking of some training on the tools we have here. That's the reason when we mentioned further in the presentation to focus in the technology we have, because Power Campus has many tools that many of us, we don't know how to use them. Yeah. So for that, like, the proposition will be to create at the beginning of the semester for the new students and even for the older students a small seminar of how to use all those tools we have. Yeah. What is the grading system? How the grading system works? What was the other point? What is the importance of the syllabus? Because here they say, okay, you get the first day of class and then you get a syllabus, and then still the middle of the semester and you don't know how to use a syllabus. Yeah. You're still like, okay, I have to do this, and you start asking like, hey, what we need to do for tomorrow, what we need to do. It's like the answer is on the syllabus, of course, because you have it there. But the problem is that you are not used to. You don't know what is a syllabus and you don't know how to use it. So there are many problems adapting to the student life here. That's the reason we're focused on improving the welfare. Yeah, the welfare combines all these parts, combines how do we adapt to our university life, how we adapt to this new reality, how do we deal with the problems we have here, the different systems. So we don't have all the answers now, but in the current time, we'll try to like figure out a way to solve them.
No, I don't want to ask. I have a comment. If I understood right, it's the problems about adaptation process and only for the first year graduate students. Yeah, I got right. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. So,
Hello, thank you. My name is Sufi Ismailzadeh, my dear 2016, and I'm really happy that you present very informative presentations about your goals. The one idea, one project the last team presented was GSG fund. It was quite attractive. Just to make it sure that how it will be financed actually by the university, by the students, and also how the payments will be given back to the fund if you help a particular student. So it's quite interesting, but I want to know how it will work actually. Thank you.
Okay.
I'm sorry for interruption. Can I ask you to resharpen this so that you have the chance to ask questions?
Okay. Yeah. Thank you very much, Supi. We know who you are, and thank you for your question. Yes, fund is created by initiative of students, but it's not will be financed by only the students' contributions. As I mentioned, it may financed by the faculty as well, and even it may financed by some organizations which are outside of ADA, which are working on their CSR, corporate social responsibility, and they may, we already told to SOCAR, and I think we are not concrete about they will contribute or not, but we are working on it. It's possible. So, how we will manage it? This is actually a very good question because we don't have a very good period of time to write a sustainable mechanism about how we'll manage it. But I may tell you what we are going to focus in this issue. We are going to focus on financial problems of the students, first of all. It's not only about the, let's say, fee of the, I don't know, this university. This also may be about the accommodation problem. Some international students leaving us because of just accommodation problem, because GPA is high, requirements is high, so it's not very hard to find a very suitable place for these students by the help of this fund. It's possible. This one thing where we are going to focus, and another thing, of course, this fund also will work as a for a charity events. Like, as I mentioned, here we do charities, but this fund will helpful for transforming these charities more sustainable system, more systematic mechanism. So, thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Nyakairo. I'm from Madia 2016. So I have a question for actually all of you. I'll start with Jainaba and Jorge. You said that you want to deal with the integration problem before the semester starts. But we know integration is something that's continuous. Like, as I can see then from the way you're all seated, there's minimal integration between like internationals and nationals. So how are you going to handle this integration? I'm very curious to know about this. And for Narmin's team, I know Narmin, you talked about those time management trainings and whatnot, yeah? And currently, I think 2 weeks ago, the Counseling Center sent an email about time management training, and I guess the turnout must have been pretty low. But my question is this: so is the issue time, or is the issue the workload? Because you seem to to throw the, you seem to go around the issues in trying to not, to say that students shouldn't criticize and all this, but is it time that's the issue, or is it the workload that's actually the issue? And yeah, those are my questions. I forgot my question.
Before answering the question, I'm sorry, it's 5:05, and at 5:30 the voting will close. We have online voting. So please be very short. Thank you.
Okay, for the integration problems, I mean, it's really difficult. I mean, some of the international students, we came from different backgrounds. We have different perspectives, different cultures, different views of the world. Some of us, we've been not also living in our country before, we were living in different countries as well. Yeah, so that in some point they give that person a real appreciation of what they're looking for. But the problem here is to find mechanisms or find common things that these two groups have in common. Like try to manage their social activities, their activities inside the classroom, their group works, because yeah, sometimes it's really hard for international students manage to work in a group with locals, because most of us, we are on a scholarship and we need to achieve a good grade in order to maintain the scholarship, and sometimes our partners are not in the same way of us. They just want to achieve a decent grade so they can pass it. So it's trying more to enroute all these capabilities we have in the same way, yeah? In order to find the mechanism, well, we need to explore it, because it's not easy. It's about integrating two different groups of people. It's like trying to blend oil and water at the same time. Yeah, you need to like find, the only way is to boil the water to blend it, yeah? So you need to find that mechanism, that way that can create the environment for these groups to combine together.
Add a little bit to what Jorge said. The integration process starting from the beginning of the semester, I think like international students normally come like 3 weeks before lectures start. We have the local students that are based in ADA, that are based in Azerbaijan, and there are a lot of, within those 3 weeks, there are a lot of activities that could be developed. Like an example would be, we had some activities, a trip to Pirgulu that was organized by Turgut and his team. We had a trip to Ganja, and it was supposed to bring together all the students to integrate amongst themselves, but at some point it was not very much realized because of the turnout of students that came. It was not coverage of all the students. It was a good initiative, and I am happy to inform you that from the start of the university activities from Pirgulu to Ganja, that were all geared towards integrating students, I can fully tell you that from this table, only myself and Jorge have participated in each and every activity of such. And this means that the integration is something that has been very important to us from scratch. And you guys can, you know, see it all. Thank you.
Yes, thank you for the question. Yes, as I mentioned here, of course, one of them is time. But of course, it's not only the time. The problem is not that the time is just one independent variable, or even there is another independent variable which causes the time management problem itself. So this is not only the time, exactly. There are too many problems as well, which maybe cause this time management problem, but we didn't have a time here to represent all these problems. It was just an example, like, for example, if the time management is problem, that kind of solutions we may offer. For example, and other things, we can involve them, social clubs or other things. But no, exactly, it's not only the time, of course.
May I answer also this question? Thank you. Of course, I think that, first of all, we should not lower the bar. I mean, if ADA gives us such requirements, we need to find solution how to adjust to these requirements, not try to change them. Of course, it's not in our capacity to change, programs of classes or grading system, grading scheme, but it's in our capacity to provide students with some programs, with trainings, how to how to regulate and how to manage their time in order to adjust to the demands of the ADA.
Thank you very much. Can we have the last question? Anyone? Any question? The last one. Very quick. Question? Oh, no more question. Thank you very much. The email, the link has been sent to you all. You can open your emails and go to the link and vote for your candidate.
Guys, you can vote until 5:40. Actually, out of 93 people, already 44 people have voted. So that means 49 people have not voted. Okay, so you can vote until 5:30 p.m. and we'll announce it at around 5:35, 5:40. And you can go ahead to Cinnabon and grab coffee, tea, and help yourself. Okay, we'll see you guys in about 20 minutes here. Thank you so much, Ahmed.
Thank you, Turgut. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.